friends, welcome to Viewpoint from overseas. I'm your host Faraz Darvesh. We have several different topics with us on the table. First, we will discuss Ehsanullah Ehsan, the former spokesman of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, a terrorist group that has carried out several attacks in Pakistan and has killed multiple, many innocent people, including the Army Public School attack in Peshawar. So he has voluntarily surrendered to Pakistan Army, and we have yet to find out what is the background of that. And now he has given some few interviews, those who have yet to go on air, but there have been videos of him telling that why and how he decided to voluntarily surrendered, and he has brought some serious allegations on the Afghan intelligence and raw involvement in Pakistan and support. What he has claimed that raw and Afghan intelligence have been supporting the terrorist network Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and using them against Pakistan. So we'll go deep dive on that, and then we'll discuss the first 100 days of President Donald Trump. And then last, we will discuss the US policy towards Afghanistan and Pakistan. So, Misbah and Ali, thank you for joining us. So, Misbah, let me start with you. Ehsanullah Ehsan, the guy we know as the evil, true evil, who used to take responsibility after each and every suicide attack in Pakistan. There has been thousands of people have been killed in suicide attacks on shrines, Shia mosques, Shia processions, army bases, and then army public schools. So it's a large number of people who've been killed, and now suddenly this guy comes up and says, "Hey, I decided that I was on the wrong path, and we were supported by Indian raw and Afghan intelligence, and we are operating from Afghanistan. We have heavy presence, and we are moving freely in Afghanistan, and we are backed by Indian intelligence and Afghan intelligence to carry out attacks in Pakistan." So how do you say this?
Well, first of all, he did not only claim the responsibility of attacks, but he also used to call the media channels and threat them: if you do not run my statement, we will.
And then they also killed few media people.
Yes. And then they took responsibility.
And they took responsibility.
So
exactly.
The crime is very, very far fetched. It is not like some people are comparing them with the Baloch insurgents, who are fighting for, at least they have some sort of reason for fight. These people have no reason to fight, and they are just going and massacring people.
No, well, they have a reason.
Murderers.
Their reason has been, we are trying to establish the Sharia system in Pakistan.
This is not the reason. This is not the
and
reason.
we are against Pakistan Army because Pakistan Army is backed by US. So they have their own distorted reasons.
But from Pakistan point of view, this is no reason.
There is no reason.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
This is no reason. Okay, now come back to his interview and his quote unquote voluntarily surrender. First of all, he did not voluntarily surrender. According to Rahimullah Yusufzai, it is just not possible.
He's been arrested then.
He's arrested. Rahimullah Yusufzai said, and I trust Rahimullah Yusufzai, he knows things very well. He knows internally.
And Rahimullah Yusufzai is a very well-known Pakistani journalist.
But he is very well-known person who knows inside out of these.
So does Salim Sahafi, who's another journalist who's been very involved with.
I'm not sure about Salim Sahafi.
But anyhow,
invited him for interview. Then second thing is that I am totally against it that our ISPR, I don't know when
ISPR is a Pakistani. So let's tell our audience that ISPR is the media source of Pakistan Army.
Yeah, inter-service
intelligence. Anyhow, it is a media source.
Public relationing. ISPR, I don't know when they learn about the public relationing. They put people on interview because see, if you do that somebody sitting and confessing, think about it. First thing comes in my mind that since this person has to save his life, anything you tell him, he will say that. So I would not believe him. All he
So
said.
what do you want to do? What do you want to?
No, just take him to court. Take him to court. Just have him go through the
trial and then hang
him. He's a terrorist. And now he's being glorified, and on a media channel, on a geo channel, there is one.
But now he is now speaking against his former colleagues, which are terrorists.
What
he's saying those guys are on the wrong path. All the TTP, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan is on the wrong path.
Yeah.
They are backed by Indian intelligence, they are backed by Afghan intelligence, and
Yeah.
they are not following Islam, and,
okay,
all
okay,
of these
and tell
excuses.
me, and first tell me what effect it will cause.
Well, they all, first of all, I don't think it will cause any effect. But if I were to be a devil's advocate, it could be that he's telling the youth that do not go and join those guys. Those guys are not has got nothing to do with Islam. Those are, real raw terrorists, and they are working against Islam. They're working against Pakistan. So do not go and join them. This is the only message that I could, only positive message I could
But
get
see,
out of that
when
video clip.
somebody in the custody,
Yeah.
and he's making claims, he's making
It has no value.
statements, it has no value
Okay,
whatsoever.
Ali, let me come to you.
No, first of all, I do not agree with this idea that Ehsanullah Ehsan himself was a terrorist. Ehsanullah Ehsan was a spokesperson, was a spokesman for TTP.
He belonged to a terrorist organization. It's very
Okay.
simple.
But he was a spokesperson.
Oh,
That means he was, so anytime he called, he did not say that I did it. He said that TTP did it, so
He
he
used
was,
to say we did it.
so, you know.
He used to say we
Yeah,
did
he
it.
did,
Yeah,
we
so
did.
there is a
So
difference.
he
Anyhow.
was, yeah, so you
Sure,
cannot.
he did not do it. He's not dead because there were suicide bombers.
So
Not-
he's a
not all
part.
the
He
time.
was
Not
part
all the
of
time
a
there was
terrorist
suicide.
organization
So
that
yes,
slaughtered many soldiers of Pakistan army.
Right.
They carried out suicide attacks, and they
Yeah.
took responsibility for it. And Ehsanullah Ehsan was the one who would come out on the media and say,
Yeah.
"We take the responsibility."
yeah. So that is another thing that I want to find out why it took so long to capture this guy.
Well, the guy is saying, "I was in Afghanistan."
No, he used to be here too, because he would call people in the media. For example, this name came up, Salim Safi. So he would call him. So why could we not trace him using the phone that he was calling from and, get him? But all these things aside, somehow something happened and this guy is now captured. I think this is a good news. And what ISPR is trying to do is trying to get the most out of this capture. But as has happened in the past, the way it's done, the clumsy way, it just negates the whole thing. So I wish that, that he was somewhere freer where he would, say
Well,
things.
that
So-
would never happen if the guy was. Oh, so you're
yeah,
saying.
so, but anyways, I am happy that he is no longer with the TTP, and I am in a way happy with his message that he is conveying that it was his mistake. And in fact, he is saying that there were things that were being done wrong at the TTP, which made him decide that the TTP was not the party that he wanted himself to associate.
And he's giving a message to the youth saying, "Do
after
not get
10
in
years,
the trap."
Yeah.
After 10 years,
Right.
Okay.
killing so many people,
Yeah.
and now suddenly
So-
he realized that TTP is a bad party.
So
Yeah.
if you start applying that rule, then might as well let Altaf Hussain speak. Might as well let all the MQM. Might as well let all the
Yeah.
Baloch insurgents. All the
Not,
all the
Tausan is
all
not
the
right
murderers.
one. Yeah, Solat Mirza
Solat Mirza.
it was, but we already got a confession out of him before he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, see, to tell you the truth, I don't even like this idea to have somebody, capture somebody, put it on TV and say, because I don't believe it then. I say, well, this person is under the custody. Sure, whatever you say, they will say that.
Okay.
He's not going to tell anything which is against whatever.
So
he's
first of
going
all,
to
let
say.
me ask you this. So all the allegation he's making against the Indian intelligence and the Afghan intelligence, do you believe that?
Well, I do believe it, but not because he's saying that. Because of the thing is that Indians, see, if India is not doing it, then I would be surprised why they are not doing it. Because see, that's why the countries do in each other's, and they are using it. Even Ajit Doval, before before he became the National Security Advisor, he said very clearly that we are going to do this way. This thing, what he called. Offensive defense policy, and they are doing it. I wouldn't be surprised, but didn't I know it before? Didn't this thing was not on the paper before? It's not that Ehsanullah Ehsan told me today, and
So
I'm very
let me ask
happy
you,
that I found
he
out.
made a very serious, claim that the chief of Jamaatul Ehrar, which is a faction of TTP, Umar Khalid Khurasani, he was injured in some of the fights and he was taken to India for treatment.
I don't know that.
Well, that's what he's
See,
claiming.
I don't know because see, he is in custody. If he's under the custody of military to save his life, I mean, anything.
So
he
you don't
was
believe it?
told,
You don't believe majority of the stuff
I
he
don't
said?
have to.
Ali,
believe.
what do you have to say?
I am skeptical about this. All his statements.
Okay.
I pretty much agree with what he said, so we can move on.
Okay, so let's get to the change the topic and let's see what what will happen in the near future. But let's get to the President Trump's first 100 days. A lot has happened. Well, I don't know whether a lot has happened, but he has taken some key decisions. But he has not been very successful in implementing those. So, Misbah, you want to give us some brief overview of how the President Trump's first 100 days look like?
Yeah, actually, it is both good and bad, but I have some statistics. I'll quickly read it. Okay, so Mr. Trump, after he came in power, he during that campaigning, he was decrying President Obama for executive orders. How many executive orders he gave, but Mr. Trump, he gave 30 executive orders, 20 proclamations, and 20 presidential memorandums, which is almost even in some cases more than that,
More than what? More than what President Obama gave in 8 years?
Yes, that's not
More?
8 years, first 100 days.
First 100 years.
Because see, he was criticizing
Okay.
President Obama on that.
So his first 100 days executive orders are far more than what
not far, but almost
the same as
same,
what President Obama did.
Okay, then he has meetings with delegates and the telephone calls. Total 63 world leader he did. Okay. His time is spent outside Washington D.C. 10 stops outside D.C. 0 foreign trips. 7 weekends at Mar-a-Lago. 19 trips to the golfing. Okay. His cabinet overwhelmingly white. Only 6 members are the one who are either non-white or a woman. Okay. His immigration arrest for criminals went up a little bit. But overall, interesting part that overall his deportations were lower than what President Obama's last year in this time. January to April.
Ali.
Yeah, so I mean, the way this thing is developing, we have to see what kind of legacy it would leave. But we can see some trends developing. And the one trend is against immigration, and especially against immigration from Muslim countries or countries which are not European countries, And then we are also seeing how he is changing things. One thing that he looks keen on is to somehow settle things with certain dictators, So he such as Bashar al-Assad, such as Kim,
North Korean.
Kim on. So those people look like right now we just saw the whole Senate went to the White House for a briefing, and I could not understand why instead of the whole Senate going to the White House for briefing, why couldn't the White House guy Trump go to the Senate?
President Trump go to the Senate.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, so looks like this is something happening, and he wants to do things with these long lingering issues, with these dictators. And then there is also a disruption in the world economy, the way it's happening either with the H1, visas, or with the flights coming to
But the
United
overall
States.
economy is doing good. Stock
Right.
market is doing well.
Economy, the stock, market is not the only indication of the economy. Right now, the stock market is definitely doing good, and he's announcing great tax cuts. So I have to see how this whole budget would come out, but how things would be balanced. But in any case, what this presidency is a major shift, because before, no matter who the president was, Republican or Democrat, the economy was not changed the way that this guy is going to change, or
Well,
that he's planning to change.
during his election campaign, he advertised that he would bring some radical changes in the economy. We have yet to see if that will be those
That's
will be
true.
possible or
And
not.
economy only takes time before you know
Right.
its change is really working.
Do you
or
see any
not.
changes in economy?
Well, actually, his budget proposal, which is like $1.1 trillion budget proposal, he cut down like 28% of foreign aid from there. But on the other hand, he wants to increase $54 billion for the military also, So obviously, economy is something you always have to you wait and see. But
So let me ask you this simple question: President Trump's 100 days, positive, negative?
well, it is in one sense that.
How would you rate it from scale of 10?
No, scale of 10, I give him 2. He did not do well.
What would you have given to President Obama?
President Obama is more. I would get 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
Yes, that's
so him
true.
you're giving 2.
Yes.
And the reason?
And the reason are very simple. I mean, his executive orders came and courts were rejecting his executive orders. Then
Right.
he,
There was- it
he
looks like
kind
there
of-
is a chaos
he-
happening.
He,
Okay.
he hired these people which are totally in control, and then they were fired.
Okay.
One has
Ali,
been fired.
scale
Jeff
of-
Sessions is in trouble. So I mean, why
So
should
Ali,
I give him
over to you.
a very high?
A scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, so it depends on who. I mean, to the supporters who voted for him, he has.
No,
been
I'm
doing-
asking about you.
No, obviously you know that I have my sympathies with the Democrats, so I will give him a very low score on this. But is he being truthful to his promises? Yes, he is really working on them. So yes, we should not be surprised. People like people who consider themselves either liberal or Democrats, they should not be surprised because this is exactly what his agenda was, and he has been trying to fulfill that agenda. And
Okay.
a lot of times he is being
So
challenged.
what would you give? 0 to 10.
No, I don't want to go into this score thing. So move on. Let's.
Well, okay. Okay. Last 5 minutes, I want to ask you the U.S. policy towards Pakistan and Afghanistan. So, Misbah, tell me about the U.S. policy towards Pakistan and Afghanistan. Is it going to be changing, or will the status quo continue?
Actually, so far it seems that President Trump and his team are still reviewing that how to
Bring the change.
proceed on that,
Okay.
and either we should bring
Bring
a
a change or continue as is?
continue the status. I'm sure they are not going to keep the status quo
Okay.
over there. President Obama has some weak policies there, because see, at one hand he announced the pullout, and he shouldn't be announcing the pullout because that gave Taliban very strong encouragement that okay, let's wait for 2 years, and 2014 when Americans will be out, we will go in, we will start that. So there is a very nice research paper which was presented in the U.S. Institute of Peace seminar, and it is also published in Washington Post on 27th. It was written by the chairman of USIP, Mr. Stephen Hadley, and he was assisted with Andrew Wilder, who is the vice president of Asia program, and Mr. Scott Warden, who is the Afghanistan program director in USIP. So he gave like four different suggestions how to do it. Okay, it's not to take anything from these intellectuals and not to challenge their views, but overall my understanding is that all these think tanks, they are giving very traditional solutions which you and I can think of it all the time. You should be tough on the ISIS, finish ISIS. You should have Afghan-led peace process going on. You should let Afghan army strengthen. You should have Pakistan working with the team. If not, then be tough on that. They are all removing the
theories.
All theories. No, just suggestions for.
Are those implementable?
Well, yes and no. I mean, the thing is that, okay, so that's what I'm about to say that. See, like Pakistan, be tough on Pakistan. This thing I don't understand. See, Pakistan is a small country. It has a security issue. It is a paranoid. It's a paranoia. They have a paranoia of their security. And world has to understand that India is a big thing over there. As long as huge India will be buying ammunitions all over the world, and being supported.
It will
by
increase the level of
diplomacy.
anxiety in
Yeah,
Pakistan,
that's true.
obviously.
And besides,
Right.
which doesn't matter. However, India always, their leadership, their even local leadership,
Very aggressive towards
very
Pakistan.
aggressive towards Pakistan, and they say that we will isolate Pakistan and we will
will
work
cut
on
off the
it,
water.
We will do cut off the water. As long
Right.
as this thing is happened, Pakistan's paranoia is not
Will
going to
not,
go.
and it's not even good for the region,
It's
nor
not
good for
the
India,
region.
nor good
So
for
when these
US.
think
So
tanks,
obviously,
when these
right.
think tanks they talk about that, they should add that factor. Where although Mr. Hadley did mention that the Pakistan's concerns about India must be resolved, but just a small.
But it's small. Ali, let me
line of
get to
that.
you.
Once again, what's the question?
The question was, would you see a change coming in the US policy towards Pakistan and Afghanistan, or will you see the status quo to continue?
Well, to answer the question, yes, I do believe it will change.
It will change. Okay.
Yeah.
So
And I think that I agree that things obviously will change because, after all, Trump was very critical of Obama on many things, on foreign policy issues. But you must understand that the foreign policy of the US has many more players than are obvious. And these players involve the military industrial complex too. Because after all, this is a
Okay.
huge military. It has to be supported. It has to go on. This war
Right.
machine should go on, and there should be war,
Okay.
and things should be used, and all that. So that's a given that all that should happen. But besides of what the U.S. is doing, our countries, which
Pakistan.
are Pakistan, India, and Afghanistan, we should be working together in order to bring some stability in.
No,
that
we are
region.
looking for somebody, or it's US is a foreign power
Yeah,
to
that's
come in and
yeah.
mediate between
So
them.
I don't agree with that. I think that there is
They should
no
not
reason-
expect US to come in and mediate.
Yeah, we should
between
work
all
on our,
three, yeah.
between these three.
Okay.
And not Russia is doing this or China is asking for this. No, these three countries should work together to make things happen.
Okay, and let me bring
yeah,
it to the conclusion now.
Yeah, and President Trump should also look into the fair reality that Russia and China are the realities of the region. You cannot keep them out from the equation and come up with a solution.
Okay.
Recently there is a conference. 11 countries of the region were invited, including US. US did not go there, and they say this is Russia's unilateral effort to assert the influence on that.
Okay.
But Russia will influence there.
It is
because
sitting
they
there,
are
right?
there. So
Right. Audience, thank you for watching Viewpoint from overseas. We'll be back next week with more topics. Keep watching Viewpoint from overseas.